everybody. This is Jeff Glass with Alpha Media Group here at Building the Brand, and I'm here with Chris Benson from Vets Haul Junk. How you doing tonight, Chris?
Hey, doing just fine, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for being on the call. And if you're new to the channel for Vets Haul Junk, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and feel free to comment and put some questions for Chris and I right there in the channel. If you're on Alpha Media Group's channel, same process. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like. We love to interact with our audience, and we love to answer any questions you might have. So, Chris, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of backstory of where you are and how you got into Vets Haul Junk?
Yeah, so I'm at my about 2.5, going on 3 years now with Vets Haul Junk, and I'm happy to say, to say the least. I really enjoy being with Vets Haul Junk and the camaraderie that we have, the military camaraderie, and just being with people that are on the same level, same like-minded entrepreneurs. I got started with the company a couple years ago. I got out of the Army, and I don't know, I didn't really see myself. I've always kind of felt like from a young age that I was going to run my own business. I didn't really see myself after the Army, like being told what to do or working with anyone. So I just knew that I wanted to start something. I didn't know what I wanted to start, but I want to start something.
Gotcha.
I like being outside and stuff like that. So I started like cutting grass and just things for, extra income, cleaning up, trimming people's bushes, cleaning up their driveway, backyard, cutting grass, stuff like that. And then I was pretty happy with that. I was doing my own thing. I'd say probably not making the amount of money that I wanted to make, but I was happy. It was my thing. You know what I mean? So I had a lady that, and her husband was in the Marine Corps and passed away in Iraq. So I kind of felt bad for her, and I'd like to help her out every week. I'd come mow her grass and, just help clean up whatever needed to be cleaned up in the yard, whatever. And she asked me one day, hey, I know you're by yourself and everything, but I got a couch upstairs. I don't have anybody that could help me. It needs to be go to the dump. My dogs tore it up. You've been in junk removal, the stories and stuff.
Yeah.
And she just didn't know how to get rid of it. It was upstairs in a tight spot. I said, I ain't never done anything like that. I can probably get some help from someone, next time I come, and I can take it. And she was like, okay, just, let me know what you think as far as, charge and what you're going to charge me and all that stuff. And I said, I'll look into it and let you know. I don't know what that stuff cost or how to even price something like that,
Mm-hmm.
So I got on YouTube and Google and stuff like that. And that's where I met Joe. He had just started putting out his Vets Haul Junk videos and everything. And I come across that and I was like, man, I like that idea. And he was just giving informative advice of people starting their own business and things like that. Well, then he mentioned that he was looking to expand his business and was looking for other veterans and stuff. So I just reached out to him on YouTube, commented. I just left a comment on one of the videos, said I was interested. I'm fellow Army infantry myself, so is Joe. So we kind of connected that way and just continued to talk for the next several months. And then he just said, hey, let's talk about this. And he asked me, we just went through a qualification process basically to see if it would even, be a good business partner. And then just kind of went from there. And a few months after that, I was the local owner of the Mooresville, Lake Norman, North Carolina area. So
wonderful. So
yeah.
What was it that stuck out about the video you first watched with Joe, if you can recollect? Like, you're watching it, obviously there's an organic connection because
right.
He's a vet, you're a vet. Beyond that connection, what stuck out to you from the video that you were seeing of him on the YouTube channel?
So I'll be honest, like before I ever heard of Joe or junk removal whatsoever, I didn't even know that was a business. I thought that, it was just some guy with an old rusty truck, that just comes and collects junk and I don't know, fixes it up and sells it. I don't know. I didn't know it was a business until I started researching and I found out about like the big brands, Got Junk and people like that. And Joe's professionalism, like when I first talked to him, just the professionalism behind it, the military branding behind it. He was just one of, like me, like-minded. Once I found out he was Army infantry and we spoke the same language and we'd both been to Afghanistan and different things that we had in common. Besides our age, we have pretty much everything in common. So I don't know. I just felt right. I felt comfortable around him. Felt like I could say what I needed to say.
Right.
You know, I didn't have to change who I was to meet him and to you know, learn about the brand and all.
You mentioned military brand. Could you unpack that for me a little bit? How would you describe what is a military brand as it relates
So
to
a
you?
military brand, a customer, I would say a customer 80 to 90% already knows when they hear Vets Haul Junk, they already know, okay, this is military branded company. And we have a military is perceived as a higher level than your standard civilian junk removal company or just any service. So they already hold you to a higher standard and expect a higher quality as far as the principles we learn in the military, the timeliness, cleanliness, uniform, appearance is everything. You know what I mean? It's honesty, doing what you say you're going to do, not cutting any corners, things that you expect from, you know, military, what we call military precision, you know,
Sure.
is what you can expect with us.
When I was talking with Jonathan, I said one of the things that was in my mind, and I know it's not, you know, there hasn't been a perfect person in the world for a long time. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, I was like, there is a little bit of that, like, kind of perfection you expect with military.
Right.
Like, the bed's going to be made. If it's 5 o'clock, they're there at 4:59. You know,
Right.
the shoes are tucked in. Everything's kind of done with such precision, but sometimes we mix up precision with perfection, right? And not everything's always perfect. So, question I have for you is, well, let me lead in with this, is that I believe one thing in business as entrepreneurs, which we are, you and me, is we have to be great at problem solving, right? So in your business, in your 2.5 years, I'm sure you haven't had any problems and it's just been smooth and perfect, right?
Yeah.
No, right? So if you could give me an example of a situation where maybe you had to solve a problem and this military brand that you're talking about comes into play and you're like, okay, I got to figure out the situation. I haven't been directly rehearsed for it, but indirectly you have. You've had some training. You've been in business for a little bit. So give me that scenario where you had to come in and solve a problem in your business.
So leading back to the military standards and values and everything, when we're given a mission, we will accomplish that mission no matter what. So, and we take it very seriously when a customer does have what we call a mission to get whatever it is from wherever it is. To them may seem like a, you know, undoable task. They don't know how we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. Us as veterans and having veteran employees and everything can always adaptability to any situation. It can be raining, snowing, something super heavy. We'll figure out a way to move it anyway. Just thinking at all times. We don't just tell someone, no, we can't get the job done. If we said we're going to get the job done, we're going to get it done. You know what I mean? We're going to come up with a way to adapt to get that situation resolved. Gotcha. So yeah, problem solvers. We're taught that in the military.
Right.
We've got a problem. We come up with a plan to get it done. We will get it done. So when someone calls on us, they know Vets Haul Junk will rise to the occasion and get it done.
You know, I see Joe as someone who's really a discipler in his business. He's teaching these younger guys. But one thing I really loved about the brand, and I was pointing out to John Schaefer, is that I don't see Joseph, much like me, trying to create followers. I see somebody who's a real leader is trying to create what? Other leaders, right?
Right.
So I see that with you guys. I see that you have a brotherhood, you have a group of leaders. And so tell me a little bit about your dynamic, how you guys learn from each other, sharpen each other up. What are some things that you learned from Joe and John and some people that are, you know, working with you on a daily basis? What are some things you glean from them and apply to your business?
So, I mean, we have like a group text deal, or we'll call each other every couple of days or something, especially when I was newer to the business. And same with John, he started probably a month before me. Well, it's kind of changed now to where me and John have been in, 2.5, 3 years now. And we've encountered situations that maybe Joseph hasn't even encountered yet, and vice versa. So we can piggyback off of each other about a situation, and we're always asking each other, hey, have you ever done this before? What about this situation? So we'll take like a video of a job and text it over and say, hey, this is the situation. There's stairs here, there's this there, how would you go about doing this and everything? And if one of us has had the problem at some point between the 3 different locations, someone has experienced something, so we can help each other in that aspect. And that's the benefit of Vets All Junk, is other veterans can rely on each other like immediately. Like I've heard of horror stories of other franchise owners from different businesses. They don't have that luxury to talk to the boss or anyone else, to get advice or whatever. They have to just read like a manual or something. You know what I mean? So with veterans, we don't leave each other hanging, So I don't know if I missed part of your question or not, but I just wanted to put that out there that
that's great.
We lean on each other. That's how military works. Like, just because a private may know something that his sergeant doesn't know. He may see something differently. Not that he's trying to tell his boss what to do, but he's just offering a suggestion that may be a little easier than something we're doing, So, and that's how we go about it. Joe may be the big dog, but we all still work together. We're still a team, It's not do it this way and that's the end of it, It's we all feed off of each other and help each other, and when we have a situation.
No, that's a great explanation. And another thing too, when I think about that military brand, I used to teach entrepreneurship. I still do. I've taught thousands of students. I've certified hundreds of students. And it took me a while to really nail down my curriculum, but I taught from something called the 7 core values. And out of that grew my brand. And John and I were just talking about that. Your brand really grows out of your value system. And one thing that really stuck out, one of the values that I had, I looked at businesses since I was teaching on the subject of entrepreneurship. I said, well, what keeps a company in business for a very long time? Much like the military, Navy, Army, Special Forces, what keeps them going and culturally going? What keeps a football team like De La Salle winning, whatever it was, 100+ games when they've had different players, different coaches? And I started breaking down these different elements. And one company I really focused on was a family business, Beretta. And they've been in business for over 500 years, a gun company in business for over 500 years. And I started breaking down what were the values, the systems. I know it takes revenue to be in business. It takes scheduling, customer service, but I wanted to go a little deeper and say, what are some principles we could apply? And one of the big ones was honor. And honor was kind of this glue, this laminin that kind of brought everything together. And I thought honor kind of brought in all those value systems. So teaching young men and women, I worked a lot with juveniles and youth and some college. And how would you describe that word in your business? Is that a core value that applies not only in the military, but is that something that carries over into Vets All Junk? But can you give me a scenario or an example of how honor applies in entrepreneurship as it relates to your company?
Yes, I mean, in my thought, honor is kind of like pride, in my opinion. We served honorably, in the military, and took that very seriously, and continue to serve our communities and take that very seriously as well. And then the pride that comes with honor, just the pride that we take in our brand. We're not going to show up on a job not in uniform or with some muddy, dirty trucks or equipment or broken equipment, or I don't know, some, a worker showing up hungover or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to show up clean, uniform, ready to go. Just the honor and pride behind that. Honor that someone even, chose to support our brand in our local community anyway. So we take great pride and honor in that as well.
I see that too, and that's a great point. I see, like, in a lot of Joseph's social media and pictures with you as well, I see you guys having your customers in your pictures with you. And I was giving feedback to Joseph. I said, man, I think that is just as good, if not even better a little bit, than a review, because reviews, you have to read through a lot of them, and those are great to have, those 4- and 5-star reviews. But one thing I think my opinions have changed a little bit, but back in the day, I'm 42, so growing up watching like Nike commercials in the 80s and 90s, they honored the athlete, right? And I really like that. It wasn't about the shoe. It was about the experience of the athlete. It could be the single mom that's out running in the rain. I don't know if you remember these commercials, or the young guy that's on the basketball court that hits the NBA. And I think Nike's marketing team was brilliant because they really put some thought into, hey, it's about honoring those people that you're serving, right? And I appreciate all you guys done. Thank you for your service. Thank you for, being a good representation in business as well. So we're taught, as civilians, we're taught to honor veterans, honor those who did serve and continue to serve, and those who have passed away that serve. That's how I was raised. That's what I've been taught. But one thing I saw that Vets All Junk is doing is they're honoring their customer. They're having, I would consider 80s, 90s version of Nike. I don't want to say modern Nike, but that version back then of like, hey, when they really honored that. And I adopted that. And I think it just kind of crossing paths and seeing what Vets All Junk is doing. We've designed our website. We really want to, we have a video on there of even of you guys as well and other clients and pictures. It's like, when I designed my company, I wanted to be about honoring the blue collar worker, businesses, restaurants, key people that we serve. So I applaud you guys for that. I see that you guys are really honoring the customer. And I think it's incredible for your brand. It's something different. It stands out. But, Joseph mentioned the other day, like a customer's like, hey, I want to be in the picture like all the other folks. And I was like,
it does happen every now and then like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My location, we really do. We do a lot of volume. So it's kind of hard a lot of times to get every customer in front of the camera. Some of them don't really want to. They just want the job done. Others aren't even there. They'll just let us, give us a garage code or whatever and just get the junk. Send me a picture when you're done and I'll cash app you or Venmo or whatever, card, whatever they do. And then, and so we don't really get that opportunity and we're very fast paced. But we do make it a point to at least ask every single veteran customer if we can get a photo. We do the best we can to at least get every veteran that chooses our brand, chooses to support us. So,
are they pretty receptive when you ask them, or what is some of the feedback you get?
For the most part, 9 times out of 10, they're fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends. You can kind of tell. I mean, some people work from home and they're kind of in a hurry, they got to get like on a conference call or something with their employer, whoever.
Right.
It's usually very busy people in this area is what it seems like. It's people are always in a hurry. So, but if we can get a veteran to start, to open up and talk with us and everything, we definitely try to get a photo with them as well. And usually most vets in this community know all the vets in the community. So when they see their buddy, Charlie or whatever, smiling with us or something, they'll call us, we'll hear a week or two later, hey, you helped out my buddy so-and-so. Hey, I got this and that. Can you help me out too? And then it just kind of, domino effect from there. So
right.
We like to know, everyone to know we're veterans in the community and we enjoy serving all the customers in the community, but especially the veteran customers. You know what I mean? So
Wonderful.
We like to help each other out.
So you've been in business, you said now for about 2.5, 3 years in your area?
Yeah. So I believe March will be 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. So do you find yourself working more on the business, in the business at this point? You know what I mean by that, right? Are you more on the field labor? Or are you managing a team? Or both?
Recently, this year, in the spring, I went with one full-time employee. He's a Navy veteran. And then I have a younger guy, not for long out of high school. He's in college, but is thinking about joining the service himself. So he's the part-time worker and they pretty much go and handle all the day-to-day junk removals. When they start to get tied up or a bigger job or something, I'll bring a dumpster by, or I'll pick up maybe a smaller curbside pickup. I'll go pick that up to kind of alleviate some stress for their day, so they're not rushing around so much. Because sometimes you know how it goes. Like a customer will have a half a truckload, and you get there. Oh yeah, by the way, I have some more stuff, and then it's a full truckload. Well, then they're late getting to the next job because of that. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'll try to alleviate that stress. Or I also take calls and do estimates and stuff like that. Because, when I give the guys a set schedule, I want them to be able to just focus on the customers that they have that day. And then I can handle, all the in-between stuff. So I'd say probably 75% of the work completed is by my crew. And then I'll come fill in. Like, for instance, yesterday we filled 7 dumpsters at one house. So it was a big house clean out. So they needed me as well to keep bringing dumpsters in for them and stuff like that. So.
Gotcha. So you do dumpster rental and junk removal. You do both.
Right.
Is it kind of 50-50, or is it primarily dumpsters? How would you break down the business?
No, junk removal. Junk removal is probably, I would say 80% of our clientele is junk removal. The majority of people want the work done. They want to do the work. Yeah, so 20% of the business will be dumpster rental. Typically someone on the weekend, I'll drop it off on a Friday, come pick it up on a Monday. They're just doing a weekend project or something.
Okay.
But yeah, 80% is junk removal.
Now, could you name some cities or counties for us that you service in your area? Kind of give us a radius and landscape of areas that you go and take care of junk or drop off the dumpsters.
Yeah, so the dumpsters are available in Iredell County only, which consists of Statesville, Troutman, Mooresville, that area. But we do go to surrounding areas like Cleveland, Taylorsville, Huntersville, Cornelius, Denver, areas like that in North Carolina. So basically I'm out of Statesville, so like a 20-mile radius pretty much for junk removal. But we can only do dumpster rentals in Iredell County.
For the person that's watching this video, maybe they're brand new to junk removal, or they're a customer, potential customer that maybe doesn't know what junk removal is. Can you break that down kind of in concrete terms, kind of where you were? You're like, hey, I didn't even know junk removal is a thing. So what type of material do you take?
So what I tell customers when they ask, they'll say, you know, hey, I see you guys do junk removal, but you also do dumpsters. And I kind of explain to them, junk removal is basically you can get the dumpster brought to you, and we'll bring a crew to do the job for you all in one. Whereas, yes, you could rent a dumpster and keep it for 3 days, a week, whatever, but we'll come in about an hour or two with 2 to 3 personnel crew, and you just point to what it is and it's gone. So
Gotcha.
We'll handle donating it, taking it to the junkyard, the scrapyard, whatever the item is. We'll make sure it's recycled or reused or dumped, disposed of properly. And I just explain that to them. It's like a valet service basically for your junk. Just put it in one spot, or just tell us there's a TV there, there's a couch over there, and snap your fingers, it's gone. So
perfect. So if I'm booking a job with you, tell me about the type of service I can expect. So I go onto the website, I contact you, I go onto vetshauljunk.com, I reach Chris Benson's team. What sort of service should I expect as far as time, service, as far as what you're going to do? Like what should be my expectations as a customer?
So yeah, when you call, you'll speak directly with me. The typical, we ask for customers to go to the website and fill out a junk removal request that you guys handle for us, that have set up for us. So they'll put in their zip code first to get started. When they put their zip code in, it'll narrow them down to make sure they get the right person. Right now we're at 3 different locations, 2 in Virginia and 1 in North Carolina, but it's expanding, so it'll get to where it will make sure they are linked up with the proper location nearest them that can best serve them. Once you do that, a form will come up, very simple, asking for basic details: your name, your address, phone number, email address, reason for messaging, such as, do you need yard waste removal? Do you need a dumpster? Do you need an attic clean out? Just very general furniture removal, things like that. At that point, I like to get back to my junk removal request within a 2 to 4 hour period from the time I get a notification. So you can expect rapid service when you contact Vets Haul Junk. We take that very seriously to at least get that first interaction started with the customer. So they're not waiting, wondering, did they get my message? Are they ignoring me? What's going on? You will hear from some. We will tell you right then, yes, we can help you, or we cannot help you with that. And we can get the ball rolling from there. We may ask for some pictures depending on what it is, things like that, and then start working out scheduling and pricing straight from either a phone, text, email, emails back and forth. We can pretty much narrow down a date to come out. Typically, we can get to the smaller type jobs within 24 to 48 hours. Larger jobs can take 3 days to a week, just depending on how busy we are. but we always are open to answering questions. Even if a customer didn't necessarily need us for everything, we can at least tell them where to get rid of that refrigerator, where to dispose of that TV, where to donate this and that. We can at least provide the information to help them out if we can't immediately get to them. So they can expect that from us, that you won't just be left out to dry. We take it very serious that a customer, out of all the companies they could have contacted, they chose to contact a local veteran company. So we appreciate that. We're at least going to, point them in the right direction and get them going.
Wonderful. And I say this facetiously, but I'm guessing you've never been asked the question, where does all this stuff go when you take it, right?
All the time. We hear that.
A number I'm going to say, because let's pretend I study this. 6 or 7 out of 10 times when there's client interaction, that's a question. Where does all this stuff go? What do you do with it? Especially if it's old heirloom items, like something from grandma or passed down, or not really what they want to get rid of, So we've seen generally on a national level, about 6 or 7 out of 10 times, we try to study the demographics, psychographics that kind of come in from customers. And we know this is a very common question. So how would you respond to that? What would be your answer if I'm asking you, hey, I got this stuff you're taking, where's it going, Chris?
Myself personally, when I tell customers, I like to keep things local as much as possible. So, like, for instance, I have a friend down the road that was not military, but prior law enforcement in New York City. He has disabilities and stuff, but he refurbishes furniture and stuff. So anytime a customer has, not like IKEA furniture, but like wooden furniture that can be sanded down and painted and whatever, I always let them know, hey, there's a local, service member in the community, prior law enforcement, that could really benefit from this. He will take this item and clean it up. I'll show him some of his work and stuff, and just let him know he can give this a new life. You're putting money in his pocket to feed his family. But your furniture is also, still being recirculated in the community and not in the landfill. Other things, just like, all the charitable donation stores, your typical, your Goodwills and your Habitats and Salvation Armies. There's a couple local churches that we deal with. I know a couple pastors that are veterans themselves. Every now and then we'll get messages on Facebook and stuff for some veterans in need, or veteran families in the community that may need some sort of medical equipment or just any sort of furniture. And I'll kind of write down that list as people message them and stuff. And it works out pretty often. I'd say once a month we come across something that I have a list that I can call them and say, hey, I've got a working washing machine. I know you mentioned, last month, someone that you knew that was a vet that may need a working washing machine. Here it is, and I take pride in that, and I feel good about that. So yeah, recycling, donating. If we do have to take things to the landfill quite often, if we find something that, hoarder situations where things just get really dirty, moldy, cat feces, mice, things like that. That stuff's going straight to the dump. We're not going to try to clean that up and sell that or recycle that, or, we're not going to send that to a donation center. So that stuff, unfortunately, does have to go to the landfill, but I feel like that's, for the better, in my opinion. But we do the best we can to recirculate back into the community. Wonderful.
So Joseph, I believe, was a recruiter, if I'm recollecting here correctly. So
right, Army infantry, and then went on to recruiting. Yes.
So I'm going to ask from you to kind of speak from that stage for a minute. So let's say there's a future Vets Hall Junk recruit, if you will, someone who's going to come take over a territory and help build out your brand in other areas. What would be your message to them if someone's watching this video for the first time and they're interested in wearing your shirt and your hat, but not just that, but representing your brand and building with you? What message would you have for them in this video?
I would say pursue it. And I've talked with Joseph about that as well. Getting in front of, when I cleared, we called it Soldier for Life. It was called ACAP or something when he was getting out. So soldiers go through a transition process when they're leaving their duties, their final duty station to return to civilian life. I would like one of us or some sort of information passed out to those veterans that may have that entrepreneurial mindset, at every major military base to know that this is an option when they go to get out. Like I'm pretty passionate about giving veterans an opportunity in the world when you get out of the military. Some people are in the military so long, they don't know how to be a civilian. You know, they're nervous, they're scared, they don't know how they're going to feed their families. I just like that Vets Hall Junk is there just to give them an additional avenue to be successful, such as I have, and John and Joseph.
Has this industry in a positive way kind of surprised you on how great of an industry it could be for an entrepreneur? Someone who's coming into it's like, man, I've never really thought of picking up junk or, recycling and doing this type of thing. I didn't really know it was an industry. I get to see things. I mean, everything from the business side to being kind of like the bartender at the bar, if you will, where everybody tells me everything that's going on. So I hear a lot about challenges, problems, finances. I hear about all those things.
Yeah.
And seeing how businesses have done, we work with several junk removal companies, and I'm continually surprised. And I've been around it for a while. So what's your raw feedback on that as far as your experience getting into, and you've done some entrepreneurial things, what you've described to me. So this isn't your first go, but what positively impacted you getting into this industry that you can share with our audience?
Yeah, so I mean, I knew from a young age that I would own my own business at some point. Just didn't know what it was. I have entrepreneurs in the past, through past generations that have owned their own businesses and things like that. But yeah, when I come into Vets Hall Junk, I'll be honest, I'm definitely blessed. Financially, this is a great business to be involved in, no doubt. I don't like to, I humble myself. I don't really like to talk about, how much money can be made in this business, but I will say that it's more significant than you would think it would be. I'm very surprised when I went because I was doing lawn care, which I thought was okay money, but it's not even comparable. So as far as, I don't know how to say that as far as financially, it's changed my perception of a lot of things, and my family life has changed. I am able to afford things that I never could have dreamed of when I was in the military. So, I mean, do you have anything like specific that you would like me to hit on? I mean, I know just financially, I'm still in the newness of the business. So I feel like 2.5 years isn't really, that much experience yet, but
right.
It's going in the right direction. So
we have businesses, and I won't get into who, but we have clients that have passed up 6 figures in a month doing junk removal. Right. And they tell me they could never dream about that. So I don't want to get into business specifics. Finances are another conversation and not for this video, but just want people to kind of maybe feel a little bit inspired that you're not getting into an industry where you're just picking up nickels and dimes. You're able to give people something of great value at a good rate. You're helping people out, but you're able to have a home, take care of a family, take vacations. So really more of just being able to kind of establish a life, because at the end of the day, I've been about that, like, okay, all about finances and how much I can make. I got a little bit older and it became about different things like, what is my legacy? How can I give back? But what I want people to hear from you, they hear from me, but I'm slightly on the other side here. I'm not in junk removal right now, but is what can they expect? They can expect to have a decent middle-class life or upper middle-class life of their business, And I think people hearing that, it's like, okay, I'm coming out of the military, but is this going to be just, $15 an hour job or $20 an hour job where I can just kind of scrape by? But no, people can actually have a business. I work a lot with blue collar, and this may not surprise you, but the plumbers I've worked with make more money than the doctors I know and the lawyers I know. And it doesn't shock me anymore because people, we're not taught that in school. When I was in school, in the college counselor, there was this saying, work smart or work hard. And on the work smart there, I don't know if you ever saw this poster, but it's this guy kind of like holding up his degree, and he's all clean and he's got his gown on and he looks all happy, like he's Mr. Success. and there's this plumber with like a wrench and he's all dirty and life looks miserable. And it was programming. We were being taught something that was a lie. You know,
That's right.
There could be some truth to it, but that's deception. Deception's when there's some truth, but there's a lie in it and it's got some agenda behind it. So we see this thing in school and we're like, well, man, I don't want to be a dirty plumber. You know, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be miserable. You know, I want to be like this tech guy. And then I study education and found that millennials with degrees were among the second highest unemployed at one point, next to homeless people. You're like, wait a second, something happened to the algorithm here. Something went off. Something went wrong. And just being able to come out of school, out of high school, and saying, look, you can use this, you can use your brain, you can use your hands, and you can make a living. So that's more my point than actual financial specifics, but really just if you could speak of your comments on the opportunity, because I think people have been misinformed. Now, doesn't mean there can't be a broke plumber, because there can be. There can be a broke junk remover. This is reality. But speak to the truth of what, on your side, the real reality from your experience, your subjective position of like, hey, this is really what it's like as far as opportunity.
Yeah, so I mean, junk removal is, you got to remember that you've got to charge what you're worth, and for what you know, your overhead and things like that, and know that customers are hiring you to do a job that they do not want to do. 9 times out of 10, it is something that they can't do or just refuse to do. Not every job is going to be clean and things like that. You could be in a crawl space, you could be in a hot attic, you could be tearing down an old dirty shed in the backyard, and it could be muddy, and just, it could be downright gross sometimes. So you just have to know and trust your gut and charge what you're worth. And yeah, that's just the way I view it. It's just, we live in a consumer society where people do have, you know, disposable income, and they don't have to do certain jobs if they don't want to do and things. And junk removal is just another service. It's just a convenient service. It's a job that, you know, your average person could probably do this job, just not professionally. Like,
right.
And that's where brands like ours, you know, rise above. Is you're going to have those employees that actually value the customer and value that their service and their equipment and their appearance and everything, and they keep their insurance up to date, and they pay their disposal fees, and they do everything the right way and pay their taxes and so on and so forth, to build for longevity. You know, we're not like a fly-by-night type deal, which, you know, you're talking about. Some plumbers can end up being broke and stuff, but, you know, maybe they just do, you know, they don't invest back into their companies and things like that, like our brand and other successful brands do. So,
well, break that down for me if you could, Chris. On this note, is what is the difference in your opinion between building a brand? Like Vets has done a wonderful job. I'm a huge fan of the brand. I'm honored to be part of the brand with you guys and building it. We take that seriously. Joseph has been excellent. And I told my wife, I said, our new business plan is just 50 Josephs, that we're good, you know, and throw Chris and John in there too. But like, we love people that are very clear to us. Here's our expectations. Here's when we want it, why we want it. They'll work with you. I tell people, hey, when you're building your business, this is a co-labor thing. I let people know up front, we may not be for you, because we have kind of an 80-20 rule. If I drop off my kids at your house, they don't stop being my kids. They're still my responsibility. So when you drop off your baby or business with us, that's still yours. We still need pictures. We still need video. We still need content. We need input. And I wouldn't want to drop something off at the marketer and just, hey, here, you run my business. And no, that's such an important part of your company. So what I love is how you guys have built a brand patiently but assertively, and built it with excellence. And I see you guys continue to grow and continue to learn and build out in different areas. And then there's people that just go buy ads. Like, hey, I'm just going to go advertise. I'm going to go put out flyers. I'm going to go do Google ads. And there's nothing wrong with those methods. But I look at those as supplemental. And I believe that going the path that you guys have is building that brand. So from your perspective, I can teach on this all day because I do it for a living, right? But I want to hear from you, the customer, and someone that is a brand builder in Vets. Like, what is the difference between building a brand or just advertising for your company? And how have you benefited by building a brand?
Yeah, so the difference in my opinion would be there are some, different YouTubers out there, and there are different local companies that I see day to day. Yeah, they're putting out the ads to promote themselves and their company, but they're not building for the future. They are just getting the next job and the next job and the next job, and just year in and year out doing the same thing over and over. Where we're different is not only are we working in our own communities to build, we're also building this brand to a level that can spread across the country for years to come after we have passed on. This business model and this brand can just continue to move on. Basically, we're not trying to be rich, we're trying to be wealthy. You see what I mean? We're trying to, it's for the long haul. It's how we look at this all junk. We're not, people have asked us, oh, you could grow in this city and that city, and you should take this guy and take that guy and things like that. And we're just selective in the clientele that we feel would bring value to our company. We don't just want every city to have a Vets Hall Junk location. We are very selective in the process. Like you said, 80-20. Just because you apply to be a local owner for Vets Hall Junk Removal doesn't mean you're going to get accepted. You know what I mean? Right. We do have a level of standards that we're looking for. Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? So that's how we look at it. It's all about long term.
Yeah. So, we moved from Nevada to Texas, and we sold our place, our property out in Nevada, and then we moved into a townhome area. And we're like, okay, we're going to look for a house. We're going to reestablish. We're not going to just go run and buy something. And to get approved to be in this townhome community was very high standards. Like, you had to have a really great credit score. You had to, they're going to ask you some questions. I'm like, man, am I buying a house or renting a place? What's going on here? But you walk around the community, and not that it gauges everything, but it sets a certain standard. And it's quiet. I'm probably the loudest person because I'm talking on my phone to you all and other clients, but it's just quiet. You're not hearing a bunch of beer bottles and yelling and screaming and music. And I think we need to learn to treat our businesses that way. Like an apartment complex, townhome community is going to have an application process. So Ryan, our CEO, that I hired Ryan, so I'm third of my business intentionally, and that's a whole nother teaching sometime. One of the best moves I made. But Ryan don't take everybody. Someone didn't show up for a call, it was a large deal. Ryan said, no, if you don't show up for the call, this is going to be reflected in later behavior. We don't want the business. And I got into not an argument, but Ryan, I'm like, that's turning down a pretty big deal with a client. He goes, there's too many signs there right there. He goes, if they're not going to take it seriously, they're not going to take us seriously. We can't work with someone who doesn't show up, So we've now switched to an application process for our business. And that was a challenging change for me. And now it's like, I'll never go back. Like, I want to work with very select brands. I'm going to be selective. We don't want to be the biggest. We want to be a boutique. We don't want to be Ford Motor Company. We want to be Lamborghini, so to speak. I'm more of a truck guy, so Lamborghini truck. We want to be that specialist, right? That says, hey, we're going to be able to bring you the best software, the best team. And when we were taking everybody, we're spreading ourselves too thin. And we changed our brand to, we are going to only take on who we can handle and who we want to work with. And it sounds like you all followed a similar model, but go ahead. It sounds like you say.
No, absolutely. I agree. That could come down all the way to the way we select a customer for us as well. If the first thing out of their mouth is pertaining to what's something going to cost, we're already kind of, so wait a minute. So what do you value in a service? People will, like you said, Lamborghini has no problem selling vehicles. They do know that their vehicles are come with a high price tag, but their type of clientele aren't concerned with that. They're concerned with the quality and the level of customer care you're going to get after the sale, and things like that. With Vets Hall Junk, they know that they have a company they can rely on for years to come. 50% or more of our business is repeat clientele or word of mouth from that happy customer. So, I mean, it just goes a long way when you select that clientele that really appreciates you, and they reached out to you because they saw how high caliber you were, and that you were local veterans, and that you were going to do the right thing, and all that stuff. So they trust you. Yes, they know you might be a little higher than, you know, the other local guy down the street, but they know the professionalism that comes with a brand like ours, not just, you know, just Joe Schmo with a pickup truck. So.
Right. And that's where I hear and I see a lot of commonalities talking with you, Jonathan, and Joseph from your team is you're not trying to build out fast to be the biggest. You're
right.
building a foundation to, I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but to be the best, right? Like to
right.
build out a brand. We're constantly striving. We never arrive, right? It's not about us. It's about building out the bigger name. But I would rather be a company that's striving to be the best than rather than be the biggest. That's not how we quantify our business. You know,
so in the military, another value we're taught in the military is called ABI, always be improving. Mm-hmm. So, that's a military mindset as well. Just a value we've learned from service. At any avenue we see that, hey, Joseph, I think you should do this a little differently next time. Hey, John, I noticed you did this and that. You know, what if you tried this and that? Just always looking for a way to make something better. Hey, I think, for instance, we chose to start going with these. I felt that the black collared shirts appeared better than the OD green t-shirt style. I felt like a customer is more receptive to someone that shows up with the logoed hats and the collared shirts and things like that. So if one of us sees something that could make something look better or be presented better, you know what I mean? Then we do that. So we're never going to settle. That's All Junk will always go higher and higher. If we see a company doing something better than us, then here we come. You see what I mean? We're not always going to adapt to every situation and always be improving.
I love that. And I've seen that. And it sounds like not only comes from Joseph, but it comes from your guys' military training and a standard in your business. So Chris, I could talk to you for days, brother. Honestly, I enjoy our conversation, but maybe another video, another time, and we can come up with another different topic too. But give us, kind of close us out here for this call. Let us know the customers or somebody who is in junk removal or somebody who's a vet that might be interested in applying to be on your team. Give us how we can find you, phone number and website, if you could, please.
Yeah, I would say anybody watching this video that has an entrepreneurial spirit and wants to grow their own brand, or if there's a local veteran in a community that wants to be a part of our brand, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me personally on my Facebook page. That's All Junk of Lake Norman, or myself, Chris Benson. Just find me on Facebook and message me. You can reach my office at 704-800-4285. And then on our website, vetshauljunk.com, if you go down to the bottom, there is a application process. If you are a veteran and are interested in starting your own local branch around the country, you can fill out a request on there, just basic information. That will be forwarded to our headquarters in Stafford, Virginia. Joseph will review that between himself and me and John, and we'll go from there. If we feel that you're, a quality candidate and you have, the characteristics we're looking for, then we'll reach out to you and, start to get the ball rolling and do what we can.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Chris, again, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for setting the example in entrepreneurship and junk removal. And I like to end with all ships rise when I give these, when I do these talks sometimes, because that's what it's all about. And I love that. It's that we want to see all people in our businesses succeed. Joseph and I believe you as well, and all of you do share is a similar philosophy with competition. We just want to see people reach for a higher standard. And you guys do a wonderful example of that, but not for people to necessarily reach for your standard as it is, but develop their own and say, okay, these are the values that we represent, and always be improving, right? So thank you, Chris, for this time. It's been wonderful talking with you, and I hope we get to do one of these again.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Have a blessed night. Bye.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.